What's up, Internet? Current 1776 here with another video for you. Quick video, but a really cool video. And I think a video that a lot of you guys have been looking forward to. I had a Skype interview with a man out west named Tug, who is here today because he had a spot device with him. So he's going to tell us his story. You're kind of going to see a little introduction again, but I wanted to do a new introduction to it. Also, just to let you know, there's a little bit of audio issues with Skype, so just bear with me through it. I fixed it as best I can, and it's fine, but there are some audio issues, so just look past that and listen in as Tug tells us about his experience using the spot device. What's up, Internet? It's Current 1776 here with another Battlbox video. And as you saw me open in Mission 71 of Battlbox, I had this here little spot, Gen 4 right here. And of course, you guys probably saw my video on it. And I also mentioned I have a really cool interview with a person, one of many people who are glad they're here today because they were carrying a spot tracking device. So I've got Tug Lieberman here, and he is a really cool guy, a really great guy, a man after my own heart. He's got animals on the wall and has got a nice fireplace behind him. So I would like to introduce everybody to Tug here, and he's going to tell us a story of how the spot device is allowing him to speak with us today here on Skype here, and you're watching on YouTube. So how you doing, Tug?
Doing well, Brandon. Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, I dig the mustache, man. I dig it.
Well, I tell you, if I could grow a beard, I'd be having a beard like yours. You're rocking that beard.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I've heard a little bit about your story, but I basically I told the lady at that spot, I was like, look, I don't want to hear no more, because Tug sounds like a guy that can really tell a story, and the fact that you know, all that happened to you is really remarkable. So I guess just kind of tell us what you do, kind of, you know, a little bit of a biography, if you will, and tell us a story about how, you know, carrying a spot tracker device helped you out so that you can sit here today with us and talk via the internet.
Well, to get things started, I have been known to stretch the truth on occasion when I'm telling campfire stories. This is the gospel truth. There is no addition. There is no fetch on this. This is what it is. Spot saved my life. And a little background is I've been riding pretty much all my life off and on. I got serious riding, and I don't mean motorcycles or bicycles, talking mules in the 30s. And I'm in my mid-60s now, so back in those days, you didn't have anything. You got broke up in a crash up on the mountain, you're pretty much done for. When the spot came out, my wife picked it up for me about 2013, 2012, somewhere in there, because she was worried that I was riding and packing. When I say packing, I don't mean putting a pack on my back. I mean putting on them force. They've got 4 feet, a lot more than I can. So, when you're in the backcountry, especially here in northwest Montana, we have a wilderness area called the Bob Marshall Wilderness. The Bob Marshall Wilderness is about 1.5 million acres, about 120 miles long and about 70 miles wide, and the only way to get in is on foot. There's no vehicles allowed. So when I would go packing in there on occasion in my youth, talking 40s, 50s, I would go by myself, which made my wife just a little bit uncomfortable. She got me the spot just for her own peace of mind, because with the spot you can send several different text messages. I have a Gen 3 now. But the most important part in it is they have an SOS button. So if you get knocked out of the saddle, roll down a hill, get stepped on or kicked or whatever, and there's no way you're going to get out. If you hit that SOS button, I'm lucky enough here to have 2 Bear Air and also Air Medevac life flight from Kalispell Hospital. And it's just put her mind at ease. So having that in mind, basically my incident, and I've never used it other than to say, hey honey, I'm here at camp, and hey honey, I'm coming home. I'd never used the SOS tag. And on July 11th of this year, 2020, I was down in Dillon, Montana area, a little town of Melrose, and I was helping a friend look for some cattle. Big cattle ranch come up short when they move cattle one pasture to the next. So his wife and couple of gals that ride with her asked me if I wanted to come along, and I said, well, I wouldn't. So trailered out to the area, and after about a half hour, 45 minutes of looking for the lost cattle, we found them on a steep ravine toward the top of a mountain that was steep in and of itself. So we formulated a plan, and I was going to kind of be the ride and drag. I was going to kind of push them from the top, and the other gals were going to kind of corral them from the sides and get them down so we could get them off for pasture. Well, I hadn't realized that one of the gals had gotten behind me on her horse, and her horse spooked at something. I'm not a horse rider, I'm a mule rider, I'm proud of it. And I got a brand new mule that I only had about 4 months. And when her horse spooked, that being the gal behind me, my mule, and so as he started going from a walk to a trot down a pretty steep hill, I reached over and tried to grab some extra rein to rein him back and to rein him away from where the cattle were on this very steep terrain that was covered with rocks. And let's say on the right side was rocks and cattle, on the left side was dirt. And I figured out pretty quick if I had to bail off, I'd rather bail off into the dirt and the sage rather than into the rocks and the sage. Apparently when this gal went by me, she went real close or bumped me because the mule I was riding decided he was going to make a hard right-hand turn. And as the old saying is, where the head goes, the body will follow. So I lost the foot out of my left stirrup, my head went forward, and body mass took over, and I exited my saddle. And the rock that I hit is kind of unique. Is about 2 feet wide, about 18 inches high, and about 12 feet long. It's shaped like a stick of butter, but not like like a rock. And I fell on rocks before. This was a hard rock. Later on, I found out talking to the trauma surgeons that the impact that I had, I probably hit the corner of the rock because the injuries that they saw is real common to high-speed automobile crashes. So bounced across the rock 5 times, came to the end of it and fell off. And I tried to catch my breath but couldn't. Gals tried to help me up to get me back in the saddle, and I couldn't get up, so I knew that I was pretty well hurt. And I've broken ribs all of my life. It's not a big deal. You do that, and it hurts, and you get by. So I hit the SOS, and 15 minutes later, medevac showed up from the hospital and took me to the first hospital. They really couldn't provide the care that I needed, so I was metaflighted up to Kalispell Hospital. There they found that I had 11 broken ribs out of 12 on my left side. The little wings that are on the side of the vertebrae, all of those were broken off of the left side. I had a punctured diaphragm, and my stomach was starting to creep into the hole in the bottom of the diaphragm. My left lung was dilated and filled with blood. I had taken my rotator cuff on my left shoulder, and it had shoved in and shattered my left shoulder blade, and a multitude of tiny pieces. So basically, the surgeons got together and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take some titanium plates and do what's called rib plating. They rib plated 6 of the 11 broken ribs, made out of titanium. And this item has only been around a few years. Had this happened 5 or 6 years ago, I probably would have eventually died of respiratory failure. The orthopedic surgeon then took my left shoulder blade and the 3 big pieces she could find and sandwiched those between 2 titanium plates, pulled my rotator cuff out to about where it should be, and sewed it all back in together. So, I forgot also I had 13 stitches in my head, from my hairline down to my forehead. And I didn't break a cheekbone or break my nose or lose any teeth, which was kind of amazing. They were kind of impressed with that, but I told them it's all on how you fall. When it was all said and done, I have got 73 stitches on the outside and about 125 on the inside. And also the meat between the ribs was just kind of hanging there, and as one of the surgeons said, I just kind of tucked it up in your ribs like spackling when you're fixing a sheetrock wall. So 1 week in the ICU and 2 more weeks in the hospital, and they released me. But having those kind of significant injuries, had I not had the spot, I would have probably not died on the mountain, but it would have been extremely painful because when my ribs broke, they didn't break like you'd normally think where there's just a break in the ribs are touching each other. Broken, and they were misaligned. So they had to push the ribs back into place, put the rib plate. So that was kind of, well, let's just say that was a significant surgery. It was the first one that's ever been done in Kalispell, and the one surgeon had just moved up here from the Denver area, and he'd done it half a dozen times, but never to this extent. But again, you can tell by the injuries, had I not had Spot, it had been extremely painful coming off the mountain because it was about 300 yards up to the nearest two-track dirt road full of potholes, and another 15 miles to the nearest gravel road, and then another, I think, 3 or 4 miles to a pavement, and then another 40 miles to the hospital. So significant pain. But the Spot absolutely saved my life. I'm not a product pusher, but in this case, I absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an amazing story, and it's very impressive that in 15 minutes they were there to get you off of that mountain. You know, in some cases, I mean, where I live in a fairly rural area, and I don't think even just calling the normal 911, other than maybe a sheriff deputy that may be close by, I don't think I'd have anybody out here medical wise in 15 minutes. So that's pretty impressive, that they got to you that quick. And I kind of attested it too in the video. You know, it's like you push the button and the Avengers show up, you know. So
Well, the only thing missing on this was I didn't hear the bugle call from the cavalry coming. Also for those loved ones who are worried about usually the guys, because sometimes we don't exercise the most common sense or the best security until you get older, up pretty good. The good thing about this too is when SPOT has an activation for an SOS, they call the emergency contact. Yeah, dispatcher from SPOT kept my wife well informed of everything that was going on as far as the notification, transport to the hospital, put her in the ER doctor, kept her well informed. So that she was a little bit, how can I describe this? I've been injured a couple times before, and she's been a solid gal.
yeah, yeah, that's really good, and that's good peace of mind too. That you know, because of course, your family members and people that you have as a contact through your devices, you know, they want to be informed on what's going on along the way versus finding out, you know, hours and hours later that you've been in the hospital for a while or medevaced out, you know, and stuff. So, and it gives peace of mind to the person using it as well. At least you know, okay, you know, the people that I have set up in the system are being notified of what's going on, and I don't have to worry about that. And they're professionals, so I'm sure they know how to manage people who are in a lot of distress over it. You know, try to keep them calm, let them know that everything is going to be all right. They're in the best hands that they can be in at the moment, and that's a good thing. So it's not only for the user, right? It's for the user's family or friends and family, whoever they have, you know, logged in as contacts and such. So it's a really cool device. And I think, you know, I'm a big hunter, and Lord knows the times that I could have been injured and almost injured. You know, here in the Southeast, we climb a lot of trees to hunt out of. And there's many hunters every year that get injured, severely injured to the point where they pass away, and even, you know, injured and die right there at the tree because of falling, you know, because like you say, sometimes us men don't use a whole lot of common sense. You know, they make devices, you know, fall restraints and things like that for us to use, but some of us, oh, I'm not going to wear my seatbelt kind of attitude, right? And those people end up getting injured pretty bad. Matter of fact, a real close friend of mine, one of his friends, last year he fell from a tree hunting and actually got impaled by a smaller tree. So he landed on a smaller tree, and luckily he was hunting with some people that were close to him, and he didn't come back to camp, so they went looking for him and found him. And he's still not over that. I think he's been through several, at least 15 surgeries since then, trying to fix everything that was damaged when he landed on that tree, amongst broken bones and things like that. And he's just now getting to where he's able to be home on a regular basis and not having to like be looked after every minute of the day. So had his friends not been with him, had he done what I do sometimes, just go hunting alone, if he had one of these, he could have got attention real quick. If not, he probably would have died out there. So the spot device is really cool. We're really excited to be getting the information out there about it, and I'm really thankful that you had it with you as well, because you seem like a great guy. I'm sure you got a lot of people that love you and enjoy being around you and have learned from you along the way. And by having this device, although you had people with you, if they weren't able to get you the attention you needed quick enough, things could have been a whole lot different.
Absolutely. The closest house was about 3.5 miles away, and one of the gals did ride over there at Mach 2, make a phone call, and the sheriff showed up just about the same time as the helicopter. Really briefly on that, too, the dispatcher who called from Spot kept my wife informed about every 10 minutes, so that she was aware of what was going on. More importantly, too, living up here in northwest Montana, we don't have a lot of cell coverage. There's a lot of places you go and there's cell coverage, so if you come across a crash, an automobile crash, you can still hit the spot, and there's still going to be a medevac response for whoever is crashed. And one of the other things that Spot provides, insurance for helicopter rides. They quit giving those helicopter rides away a while back, and they're kind of pricey.
Yeah.
You're also going to save some money. Hospitals don't mind performing the service, but they also are a profit business. Got to cover the cost, and helicopters are very expensive. So again, I can't say enough good about Spot. They will always be with me in my truck or in my saddlebag. Oh, and by the way, the Spot unit that I had, after it was all said and done, came through without a scratch, not a nick.
Yeah, yeah, they are very rugged, for sure. They are very rugged. Um,
Incredibly rugged.
but yeah, man, I mean they're small. They don't take up any space. They keep you connected. Like you said, you can set a message sequence in there for, hey, I'm in camp for the night, everything's well, or hey, I'm on my way home. And with the Gen 4, you can actually send the your like a special link to certain people you want, and as long as you got it turned on, they can go to that link and see about where you're at. So even, you know on the kind of bad side of it, let's say something were to happen to somebody alone, and they actually passed, and they weren't something happened to where they couldn't push the buttons. uh, a loved one could notice, several hours has gone by, I haven't heard anything out of them. They can look up the link, and they can see that that device has not moved for several hours, which would give a clue that something could be wrong, and they could ask for help, as well. So having one of these on you, it's, especially as small as it is and as easy as it is to use, even if you're injured, if you could just push one button, you can get the help you need. So I think it's an excellent company and an excellent device for sure. So
You hit on it. It's just one button. I am techno challenged, and I don't mind admitting that to the world. And if you're out there and you're older and computers or cell phones you don't feel comfortable with, I still have a flip phone to give you an idea about the technological level that I'm at. And it is absolutely the simplest thing in the world. It's really important when adrenaline gets going or you're injured and shock starts setting. It's a one-button push. And
yeah, yeah,
excellent product. Plus that it fits in the front pocket of about any shirt. It's only about the size of a couple of soda crackers.
hmm
Again, excellent product. Absolutely.
Well, great, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me for a few minutes and hearing your story. And being honest with you, I don't want to be a stranger. I'm sure you've got a lot of really cool stories that I'd love to sit down and listen to, for sure. But
There's always truth in everything, like they say.
yeah.
What do they say at the movies based on a true story? Yeah, one of these times we get together around the fire, have a shot of some brown alcohol or some brown refreshment, and tell some stories. I imagine you've got a couple, three for me also.
Oh, I've got a few, but man, that's one of I enjoy sitting down with people and having conversations like that, especially guys that are into the stuff that you are into. Y'all always have really good stories, and to be quite honest with you, I've met quite a few people out in your area. I've been out in that area hunting. I used to film hunts, and everybody I've met out there are the best storytellers ever. It's just something like they can tell a story that it's like a book talking to you, and they just suck you right on in. They give you every detail, and you feel like you're in the story with them. So I definitely going to be hitting you up just to chit chat for sure.
I'm looking forward to it, and thanks for inviting me to be on your show. It's the product that you give out is something very unique, and it's for a special kind of person. And I guess if you're a teetotaler and wear yoga pants, and I hope it doesn't offend too many people, I appreciate it. But if you're of the right mind, Brandon and I think you'll enjoy the products that they put out. They're a quality product at just an incredibly reasonably priced item, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not too expensive to potentially save your life or save somebody else's life for sure. So whether you're into just weekend camping, weekend warrior, to prepping, to whatever, to riding mules and herding cattle like Tug here, this right here is going to be a great device for you to have. And all of Pro and Pro Plus subscribers from Mission 71 to Battlebox, you got your hands on one. Yeehaw. So thanks, Tug. Good talking with you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I'll be calling you soon, buddy.
Great, Brandon. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You too, buddy.
I tell you what, Tug's a really cool guy, and I think I've just got myself a new friend to talk with on occasion out west. What an awesome storyteller, and a really good testament to the Spot device. If you're not 100% sure what the Spot device is, I'll have a link down below to a fairly extensive video I did on it. You guys can check that out. If you don't have a Spot device, I recommend you get one. If you do have a Spot device through our subscription service at Battlebox with Mission 71, I really want to encourage you to use the setup coupons that we sent with the device and start using it, because you never know when you might need it. Yeehaw. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time with another video. Yeehaw.